Made in Abyss is one of the best things ever made. Please don't report me to the police.
Traveling the ether back to you, to a land so far away. I feel the distance in between.
Made in Abyss made me feel amazed, terrified, disgusted, heartbroken, and pretty much every emotion in between. That does include happiness. Like maybe for 5 seconds.
What the fuck, man?
This anime is well known for being a trap. A cute looking show descending into some pretty dark stuff. Oh yeah, there's this really cute show called Made in Abyss. Alright mate, I'll give it a try. But despite the porcupine's shenanigans, aren't porcupines so cute? There's a lot more to Made in Abyss, often left untold on the internet. So let's take it from the start.
Jetzt zock ich Fortnite und trink Cola. Yippie!
One of the biggest lies in anime are the first 4 episodes. At this point it could even be passed on as a kids show, except for some interesting scenes. Especially with the main characters, Riko and Dreg. Riko is introduced as an excited, headstrong and brave girl, the daughter of the legendary Liza who disappeared into the abyss, a huge chasm, which you can descend. Going up is gonna pose a bigger problem though. Riko dreams of descending down through the 7 layers to the bottom of the abyss. Her dream shut down by the fact that, well, she's a kid, leaving her stuck exploring the edge of the abyss, or just about 100 meters deep max. That's where she meets Reg, an amnesiac human-like robot, whose otherworldly strength is held back by his constant nervousness. While they're simple, they make for an endearing duo as they really need each other. Riko needs Reg to survive against the challenges of the abyss, and Reg needs someone as confident as Riko to keep it together. Let's be real, he would go insane within like 2 days without Riko. Both helping each other to grow into better, stronger, more confident versions of themselves. But that's for later in the video. Now we're still in Orv, the shining city resting up on the top of the abyss. Depicted absolutely beautifully. Like, how? The outside world is barely mentioned. But whatever countries exist, they come together to Orv for the riches of the abyss. The whole city and society was built around collecting the relics found within it. The so-called cave raiders built this place up as a haven to retreat to, once they finish their adventures. To the detriment of some people, especially the kids. The first 3 episodes are up here and really cute, like look at this cat. But there's a few things weird about the orphanage we spend most of the time in. The orphans are sent out to the edge of the abyss, no matter how you look at it, a dangerous place for kids, for the purpose of making some bag. Sigma Grind said, dangerous child labor, they yearn for the mines. The punishments in the orphanage are really humiliating, which I can't show for reasons. And why is there a torture room? This is the room where Reg is brought online, via an electric chair. While we don't know the full context, maybe the building was or still is being used for something than just the orphanage. But from what we know, it's really weird that it's here and brings up uncomfortable possibilities of what might happen to kids who don't cooperate with the rules. I wouldn't put it past the director to do something like that. She really is a fucking freak, man. Outside of that, there is the wharf. A part of Orv that's so packed in with houses, it started collapsing into the abyss itself. This is where the close friend of Riko, Nat, lived. His parents probably dying in the abyss, his sister being the only family left before passing on as well. In the harsh reality of Made in Abyss, the kids are gonna get used or thrown away. There are a lot more examples, but those will be later on in the journey. For now, we are in the first 3 episodes, focusing on the life of Riko on the surface. These episodes filled with happiness and wonder, showing us her friends, teachers, family, the beautiful and calming landscape of Earth, and just her being a kid, cause we know it ain't gonna last. Rico spends all her time looking down, literally down into the abyss, learning as much as she can. She feels it's calling for her. That's when there's the call to action. Someone found notes from Liza, drawings of the creatures deep down in the abyss, and a message. At the bottom of the netherworld, I'm waiting. So, at the end of episode 3, she descends into the abyss. This is the first scene that sold me on Maiden Abyss. We've seen so many heartfelt goodbyes in fantasy adventure stories. But once it's over, yo, what up mate, I'm back here. This goodbye is final. She will never return. The childhood friends want just a bit more time. Just a few more memories.
大丈夫。二度と会えなくてもアビスで繋がってるから、私たちアビスと繋がってるの。ここで生きたことも忘れたりしないから。
This scene was really powerful for me. An actual heartfelt final goodbye. If Rico finishes her journey, that's the end. She'll be at the bottom, not being able to get back up. Episode 4 is spent in the first layer of the abyss, trying to reach the second layer before a search party comes to drag them back up. Nothing of note happens in this episode, except more weird stuff. But then there's episode 5.
誰かいる。あっちだ。聞こえた。
Episode 4 framed the escape from Earth as a final challenge, but pretty much immediately were shown that Earth was a safe haven, away from everything that hides down below. Every time they defeat a dangerous creature, it feels like they got away unscathed by the skin of their teeth. Especially with the dangerous corpse sweepers that almost snagged on Rico if Rick didn't have a massive fuck-off laser. This is a place where we aren't the apex predators. We're the prey. Wherever you go, you have to be wary, otherwise it can be over in a split second. And that affects people, especially those who seek greatness. This is Ozen, the immovable sovereign. She's a mommy. I meant maniac. Ozen is one of the 5 White Whistles, heroes of the Abyss, beloved by everyone, Liza being one of the 5. But here in the Abyss, they aren't the heroes of legend. Instead, they are true monsters. Ozen claims to be the nicest of the White Whistles, which I have no trouble believing, but... While she isn't amoral and won't kill for fun, maybe, she is twisted by the Abyss. Literally. Her hair is like that to hide the deformation on her skull. And that isn't the only thing she's hiding. Her body is covered with 120,000 pins, making her the strongest human in Maiden Abyss. Her behavior is cold and cruel. Her expressions hiding if she gives a damn or not. That's not to say she is emotionless. Her fondness of Liza is pretty obvious. And she does show kindness to people in need. Someone without emotions would not keep that many people around, even though she doesn't show it at all. That's probably the reason why she's the nicest of the White Whistles. But when it comes to helping Rek and Rico, she doesn't hold back and sometimes actively enjoys hurting them or messing with them. She even admitted she got too into her fight with Rek, unintentionally punching him until he broke. Reg is almost indestructible. It ain't easy to break him by accident, man. Also for their training, she just threw them into a forest. Which is common in anime, but you know, still fucked. This is someone who lived in the abyss for too long and slowly began reflecting it. Picking up the abyss's cruel and unforgiving nature. At least she doesn't kill everyone she meets. Yet. This part at the Seeker Camp reveals another thing. Right now we can deduce how terrifying the animals and humans down in the abyss can be. But what about the relics? They are everywhere. Some do absolutely nothing, but some can alter our reality and can lead to some truly unsettling scenarios. Rico was a stillborn. This relic, a machine or whatever it is, gives life to anything dead inside. But it's not the same. Anything given life by it will move towards the center of the abyss. They are drawn by whatever hides at the bottom. And there's one more condition. After a while, the newly reanimated life will once again fade out. This completely breaks our view on Rico. This headstrong, cheery girl who was so determined to explore the abyss might be a prisoner to the abyss itself, returning to where she belongs. And she has very little time left, though it's never outright said. She has maybe a few years left, if not a few months. Nevertheless, she continues on without questioning. Maybe it's her own drive and fascination. Maybe she's just swayed by the will of the abyss. While everything seemed so crystal clear up at the top, this part makes us question everything. This will not be a cute show. Rico may not survive to see her mother. The White Whistles are less heroes, more monsters. Rico potentially doesn't have free will. The handwriting on the message that inspired this journey isn't Liza's, and Ozen can't tear the paper it's written on. Liza may not even be alive, and if she is, she may not be the heroic legend bathed in light. She is, after all, nicknamed Liza the Annihilator.
I am Alan the Annihilator, bitch!
But with all that, this is where the manga started losing steam. The readers deterred by lots of exposition and goofy pacing. So the question is, what happens next? Yo, Akihito. Yeah, what? You're kinda bleeding money. You should, like, alter some things, you know? Yeah, sure. At this point we've gone through 3 layers of the abyss and we know the effects of the curse. Layer 1, dizziness and nausea. Layer 2, vertigo, dizziness and severe nausea. Layer 3, all of the above and hallucinations, both visual and auditory. But now we get to layer 4. This layer's curse is severely stronger. Internal hemorrhaging, intense body pain, bleeding from every orifice. aka average reaction to 3 seconds of K-pop. You guys started this! So, let's hope Reg and Rico will be careful.
Dumbass.
This is the scene everyone talks about when Maiden Abyss is brought up. Reg and Rico meeting the deadly orb piercer. Covered in highly venomous spines, a creature that can feel the ripples in the curse all around him, which for us humans seems like it sees the future. In this moment, when Rico gets pierced, Reg has only one place where to escape. Up. What follows is one of the hardest scenes to watch. Maiden Abyss is now radically different. While there was danger before this, it never felt as real as now. This scene tells us the whole adventure down to the bottom could end in one unlucky instant. And from now on, it will not be the same show. Fucking brilliant! Nanachi is a character that absolutely dominates the fandom. I think Nanachi is absolutely perfect, but not in a million years would I expect the stranglehold she has on the community. Here's Nanachi singing Without Me. By the way, there's a full version, links in the description. Here we have remixes from Cute Sounds, and of course she also sings Just the Two of Us. So what attracts the schizoids of the anime community? Well, look at this. I don't think there's any need for elaboration. But even excluding her furry appeal, Nanachi's great. She has a new logical and careful approach to the show. Introduced as someone who keeps people at a distance. Claiming to help Greg and Rico cause she pitied Greg after hearing his helpless cries. She acts like she's above anything that's happening. But we soon see why she is that way. Nanachi's story is tragic and another example of orphans having no worth in this show. A tale of a kid being ostracized by the other orphans. Finally finding a reason to exist in this world. Only for the reason to be ripped away. And that's all I will say. This video is full of spoilers, but if there's something I think you should experience blind, I will not talk about it. And the Nanachi story is probably the prime example of that. Being the absolute highlight of the first season. In reality, I could make a 2-hour video just on Nanachi as I'm one of the schizoids. But what does this part of the story accomplish as a whole? I feel the first season is a struggle for Made in Abyss to find its identity. And this is the part where it cements what kind of show this is gonna be. They retain a few cute scenes while ramping up the intensity. The few flashes of something kinda dark we saw before episode 10 now switching to a lot of the main focus, while expanding on the mystery of the Abyss. This is when the story starts feeling eldritch, like we are exploring something unexplainable. It starts working way less like an extension of Earth and more like its own place, separate from the outside. I think this is what sold a lot of people on Made in Abyss. A few absolutely horrifying scenes separated by mystery of this world and some visceral storytelling. Now that Made in Abyss found its thing, it's time to refine. This is fucked up. Out of all things I've ever seen, this is the most fucked up. Which doesn't say much as a great enjoyer of not consuming horror media. But at least in the medium of anime, it's almost definitely at the top. If any of you fuckers say Higurashi is more upsetting, you are legally 5. What made this film such a horrifying experience? Him. Bondrewd is my favorite villain in all of anime. We hear whispers and snippets of him all through season 1. He's been built up as the biggest threat, a pure monster who experiments on children in the most horrific ways. If you're lucky, you'll die during the experiments. What we expected to see was a horrific inhuman monster. So when I saw the introduction in the movie, I was absolutely amazed.
What's up guys, it's Quandale Dingle here.
Once our trio reaches the Edo front, the really cool purple place, they are preparing for the worst. Bondrewd knows they are coming and they know they're stepping into his domain. Information is power, don't say anything. They probably expect one of his many Umbra heads or Bondrewd himself to greet them. But who they meet is another kid. The daughter of Bondrewd, Prushka. which might have been a way bigger challenge than any Umbra hand. Yes, they are ruthless scientists, but Prushka has something different. She's way too excited. Curious about how they even got here.
Are you mad because I said you're lying? So, the silent treatment, huh? Oh, do you like my hat? Want to touch it? Why is she being so casual?
That's when he appears. This casual scene cut short with just his presence. The playful music switching to this suffocating piece as his steps echo. Only to switch again into a more relaxed piece as he speaks.
Hello there, everyone. How nice of you to come.
Everything he says goes against what we as an audience expected of him. His words are casual and even gentle. Hell, a short while after he even gives a speech about how family isn't created by blood, but love for each other. Leading us to the conclusion he truly loved the kids he experimented on. Even years after his experiments, he remembers their names.
Shako, Ethan, Sumiko, Puel. You see, Obad, they all have names.
But in his eyes, loving someone is not a reason not to experiment on them. He even experimented on himself. He is purely dedicated to science and no emotion in the world can stop him from pursuing the great mystery of the abyss. But his gentle, friendly demeanor easily fools people to let their guard down around him. This leads to some of the hardest scenes to watch. This movie is probably the cruelest part of the story. It does end on a slightly, very slightly, absolutely tiny positive note, but it doesn't have any effect as the viewers are left processing everything they just saw. This movie doesn't give you any time to breathe. Season 1 had a few dark parts, Season 2 has some of the worst stuff I've ever seen, but with 12 episodes, there's plenty of time between them for the viewers to catch their breath. With the movie, you're forced to watch the nightmare unfold scene after scene with no break substantial enough to relieve any tension. It feels deeply dire. Bondrewd not only towering above the trio, but seemingly prepared for any situation. He truly is just playing Minecraft creative mode. Everything I've talked about improved by my favorite OST for any piece of media. I didn't really focus on it up till now, but Kevin Penkin's work on the whole series is absolutely phenomenal. This movie especially has some of the most impactful tracks an anime can get. Rumble of scientific triumph perfectly encapsulating how terrifying Bondrewd is. Really cool they had a choir of children singing his theme. I would play the whole thing, but as it is a 4-minute track, I will leave a link in the description. This build-up of Bondrewd as Maiden Abyss's perfect villain leads to an interesting resolution. I feel I speak for like 90% of the fandom when I say this, even though it technically ends on an absolutely microscopic positive note. It did not feel like it. Rather than feeling any happiness at the ending, I thought to myself, damn, they made it out alive. Just thinking about the movie gives me this overwhelming bleak melancholy. But it was powerful, seeing the team pick themselves up after everything that happened and with bright smiles, continue on. This is a horrible place and horrible events happened, but life goes on, so you have nothing left than to get back up and continue. I don't know how to feel about this movie. I did not enjoy it at all. But it was an extremely powerful work of art that I'll never forget. It's one of those things that just gets stuck in your head and won't leave you for a long time. Alright, let's get to the end.
What the hell? Oh my god, no way.
Season 2, Episode 1. Vomiting. Mangled corpses. Child slavery. Burning a child with a hot metal rod. And child... I can't say this on YouTube. Yes, the last 3 were inflicted on the same child. This all happened in the first 4 minutes, by the way. That's one hell of an interaction. I wonder what music they chose to play during these really messed up 4 minutes. Thank you, Kevin. Very fitting somehow. Alright, Season 2, or as its full legal name, Made in Abyss, the Golden City of the Scorching Sun, Jesus, that's a mouthful, is a lot. Unlike previous arcs that were short and concise, this arc has 12 episodes, the last being double length, and follows 2 storylines. The present with Rico and the team finding the Narehate village and encountering Faputa. Get your mind out of the gutter. And the other in the past, following the Ganja, a group of outcasts led by Vazukyan, trying to find the Golden City of the Abyss. Focused mainly on Vueko, the slave girl. You will feel really bad for her, like Jesus Christ Takehito, leave her alone. And Irumyui, an outcasted native kid of a tribe living on the island, adopted by the Ganja. You will feel bad for her as well. You know what, there's a rare few characters you won't feel bad for. First off, I thought I knew how Made in Abyss is. This girl is definitely this moth creature. I was really wrong. We'll return to that. Well, not really, I don't wanna spoil it. So back to the Abyss. By this point, Abyss is so far from a really big hole. Before Season 2, we were struggling against predators or crazy humans. But with Season 2, you just realize all of these monsters out to get you are just a microscopic part of the Abyss. The Abyss is the predator. Not literally, by the way. Well, at least for now. It feels like it's built for trapping humans, taking our every survival instinct and using it against us. You wanna go up? You know, scout the area, get a good view, gather information. Bad idea. You wanna hunt the animals for food and resources? Bad idea. You wanna make a camp? Bad idea. You wanna drink water? Yeah, you can't have anything here. Humans are used to trying to live where they definitely shouldn't, but the first will always suffer the most. The Ganja's journey down is hard. Unlike Reg and Rico, there is no understanding of the vicious nature of the Abyss. Though despite that, they find happiness in finding their promised land. Vueko and Irumi even reach this cute family-like dynamic, with another character Belaf also growing really close to the duo. They finally reach all the way down to the Golden City and it's already in ruins. The environment of the 6th layer is harsh. Sickness and death runs rampant. You know shit is bad when they dedicate an episode to diarrhea. You get it? Shit. Alright, that was like the least funny joke so far. Vazukyan has to step in. Unfortunately, he's one of those people who would be a white whistle in the modern times. He inflicts pain for the survival of the mission. By using the resources the Abyss has to offer, he became another pawn for the Abyss's twisted game. The rest of the Ganja are complacent in his actions, either because they're weak from sickness, or because they feel like they have no power to resist. This is where I wanna stop and talk about Anohana. Anohana is one of my favorite anime of all time, right now sitting a few places above Made in Abyss. But one thing I recognized as flawed writing was Menma. Menma is written as a perfect being, always caring for others, always saying the right thing, always forgiving everything. This worked for the story, even though I'd like to see some flaws. It was fine. It wasn't a deal breaker, I still really enjoyed the show and I like Menma. But it inspired a lot of other anime to have this kid Jesus who's always happy and always says the right thing, never getting angry or feeling any negative emotion. Something I thought would be present in Irumyui. When I'm writing the script I just paste her name, cause I can't remember how to spell it. I'm the only one who sees the script, I don't know why I'm saying it. When Irumyui is with Vueko she's always filled with joy. leading us to believe that she's like that all the time. But unlike most of the kids depicted in anime, she never forgave. She hated Wazukan and everyone who turned a blind eye to his actions. Once again, a character I thought would be a walking archetype turned out to be something more than I could have expected. But I don't wanna talk about the Ganja anymore. Back to the present. This season takes a much slower approach. Instead of speedrunning through the layers like we doing a gold split speedrun to meet the horrors beyond human comprehension, this season we not only settled down in the 6th layer, but spent most of it in the Narehate village, learning its past, the culture, the fetishes of every inhabitant for some reason, and systems in place. I absolutely love when anime do this, just really take a step back to build up everything before continuing. While Reg has been getting most of the focus through this show, his character arc being pretty easy to understand, just him slowly gaining confidence to not be an anxious wreck. In this season he's able to spend more than 5 seconds not glued to Riko. Progress! But with Riko, I think her character arc really cements itself in this season. Throughout the whole series, Riko was confident, though she did show a few cracks, but nothing shook her for long, so I had trouble seeing what her journey was about. Season 2 provides the puzzle pieces to finally put it together. If we now take a look at her encounters with the human villains through the series, a trend emerges. When Riko found out about the truth of her birth, she was unable to do anything. Ozen dominated this scene, Riko just sitting there, lacking the strength to fight back in any way. Reg eventually being forced to intervene. Riko seems like a realistic character at first glance. But contrasting this scene with her interaction with bondrewd, there is a stark difference. This is Riko who already went through Ozen's training, was forced to drag Reg for 2 hours while avoiding the dangers of the 3rd layer, and was... Sorry guys. And was affected both by the venom of an orb piercer and the curse of the abyss at the same time, somehow not descending into panic. And she still shakes in the presence of bondrewd, this towering monster enveloped in darkness. We get a pretty disturbing lore reveal. Riko is once again shaken, but this time she doesn't let herself be defenseless. She immediately uses the information she just learned to figure out bondrewd's past and how it led to the current experiments, and then berates bondrewd for his actions.
You came upon those ideas while you were fiddling with how to produce your worth, didn't you?
Very interesting, child. You may be much more like us than I first imagined.
Once again we see a spin on an established trope. The dynamic of you and I are not so different seems is mostly in the favor of the antagonist. They are messing with the hero's mental state. But here bondrewd is genuinely surprised by Riko's words, needing to fight back for the dominance in this scene. Of course I mean by words.
I can understand having great ambitions, but there's no way I can even begin to forgive you!
Remember this line. This line is important. So now we can finally talk about Season 2. This fucker is in Season 2 and he's done some bad stuff. But they didn't involve any of the main characters. I'll just play the scene where he approaches Riko after she discovers what he's done. The audio of the fucking episode isn't working for some reason, so I'm just gonna, I don't know, provide background sound. Contrasting this with the previous scene tells us a lot. She does not care about anything that doesn't concern her closely. This guy has done some appalling stuff, but she doesn't show any hostility. This is one part of the puzzle for her arc. Let's look at another scene. In this scene, Riko is trying to free one of her friends from the clutches of a Terraria boss, and he offers her a deal. He will let her friend go if she offers in exchange either both her eyes, or both her legs, or half of her organs. Of course in a way she would survive. I won't say how it ends, but Riko immediately starts considering what to offer up. She's able to sacrifice a lot for what she cares about. And I believe this will affect her actions in the coming up season 3, in like 70 years. Now, I'm not saying she'll commit war crimes or anything, just that she's yet to be faced with any morally great decisions. This contrasted with her lack of care for what doesn't concern her closely, I think we'll see more questionable decisions from her. But that's just speculation and we'll have to wait and see. Then there's Faputa. She was a puzzling addition to the story. She's the antagonist of this arc, someone created for the very purpose of destroying the Narahate village. But she also gets all the more cute stuff, and possesses lots of the schizo appeal. Someone made a Hello Kitty edit of her. She is a Hello Kitty girl. But slowly as the show takes us through its second half, her character unravels. Her single-minded pursuit gets challenged as she asks herself, what is a person? After fulfilling their purpose. Is there a purpose to begin with? In this world, that is unbelievably cruel to her and everyone else, why does she still want to struggle for happiness? Questions important for the entirety of Maiden Abyss. As the season barrels towards its conclusion, it pulls no punches. No matter who it is or what their goals are, they lose something. No one in the end is the winner. Winning and losing aren't terms meant for Maiden Abyss. It's about the survival of the rare few. A pretty bleak message for the story, but something weird occurred. After all the horrible stuff that happened, I felt happy. Genuine happiness, not relief that the characters I like made it out. This season can make me feel disgusted and horrified, but also awestruck by its beauty and delighted, in the same scene. Now let's quickly look back at Riko's character design and how it's changed. As you can see with her short hair, one small scar on her cheek and a big scar on her arm, it's obvious she went through a lot on her journey. We very well know, but at the end of the day, she smiles as much as when she was on the surface. In this never-ending nightmare, where everything is against her, she still finds her happiness. No matter what happens, she endures and overcomes and walks out on the other end stronger. Same can be said for all of the main crew. This positive energy contrasts the horrible events happening, showing us, despite everything, they'll never give up. This show is no longer dark or sad or disgusting. It isn't cute or beautiful or heartwarming. It's none of those things. It's all of those things. And it's one of the best experiences I was able to witness. It's not easy to consume. It's not something traditionally entertaining. It's not for everyone and not something I can recommend. But it definitely is one thing. A modern masterpiece. And I guess only time will tell what wonders and horrors hide at the bottom of the abyss. As I was working on this video, we lost an amazing person. He brightened our days, and despite his struggles, he was able to better himself and encourage the people around him. He was truly a strong and wonderful person, and it's sad he didn't realize it. You'll be forever in our hearts. Rest easy, my friend.